All right, before we get into the podcast, I want to start by saying thank you to Sato and Brepoper for inviting me on. Guys, I had a blast talking through all the different topics around sword fighting on Roblox. This is something that honestly has never been done before in the community. Just three guys sitting down that's been a part of the sword fighting community for over 10 years having a conversation. So huge shout out to Sato for handling most of the editing on this video and carrying the flow of the conversation. And yeah, without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Sato for his introduction. I'll catch you guys after the podcast.
All right, we are starting this podcast with an opening introduction of a new member that's going to be joining us in this podcast. Everybody, we didn't mention him last time. I forgot to mention him. We are mentioning Corbin, previous owner of Series 143 and 44 of the Sword Fighting on the Heights IV Crown of Fire. It's a limited item and it's very hard to obtain. And this man owns so many of them. He owns three of them. He's also a retired Sword Fighting in the Heights original creator for YouTube. If you don't know, here's his channel there. Go check it out. He's one of the best content creators. He forms many challenges as well, many streaks, and he has a 601 IV streak. So check out his content. And we are beginning the podcast now. So see you guys in the next clip. All right, the podcast has begun. Corbin, introduce yourself.
I'm Corbin, for those of you guys that don't know. I've been a part of the Roblox sword fighting community for well over 12 years now. And recently, I have retired from the sword fighting and Sword Fighting on the Heights 4 content on YouTube. Now, over the course of my journey, I've had the privilege of competing and creating and contributing to one of the most, in my opinion, iconic experiences in Roblox, that being Sword Fighting on the Heights 4. And throughout my time in the community, I was involved in some incredible events and projects, all right? Those included the Sword Fight on the Heights 4 tournament, the No Illumina Streak Challenge, the Blade Master Speedrun, Sword Fighting Hall of Fame reviewing games, and the Hall of Poners. So that's been the bulk of my resume on Roblox. Is mostly Sword Fight on the Heights content. But yeah, I mean, beyond just creating content, I always wanted to give back to the community, give back to the people that subscribe to me and that follow me. And that led me to give prizes for these challenges. And those prizes ended up being over 150,000 Robux in prizes. And that not only fueled these challenges, but it built competition between players and built a community, which was great to see.
It contributed a lot to the fan base and to the game itself, and it helped make sword fighting a lot more popular. Would you say, Corbin?
Absolutely, dude. Sword Fight on the Heights at that time, we were reaching 120, 130 players. And I don't want to take full credit for that. I absolutely will not take full credit. But I will say that it made a big impact. People were starting to get interested in the game just from seeing content pushed out. Nobody's doing Sword Fight on the Heights content. And yeah, I took advantage of that. Dude, I could go on and on. I need to let y'all talk. I could go on and on about myself.
Bro, I just can't believe you gave away 150,000 Robux, bro. Like,
that's a lot.
Bro, you didn't give me any, bro.
Where were you in the competition? You weren't in it.
All right, action to you, Bree.
So, I'm the what it do baby boo guy. You know what I'm saying? Started sword fighting in 2008. Quit in 2013, didn't play Roblox for like 7 years. And then COVID happens. Sitting at home, just trying to figure out a way to make some money. And then a Roblox video pops up on my YouTube feed. And I was like, oh yeah, there's Roblox. I had completely forgotten about it at that point. And I'm watching the video and I realized, like, bro, this dude has like 6 million subscribers. And the video has over 500,000 views. And the first thing that hit my mind was like, whoa, Roblox has this much viewership? You know what I'm saying? Like back then, like Roblox was kind of a very, very, compared to what it is now, was a very small platform, like a very small platform. And I was just shocked. So the first thing I thought was I start researching Roblox and I was like, oh my gosh, I could easily make a Roblox YouTube channel and just try to push that. I've always wanted to do YouTube anyways. So first thing I do is I hop back on here 2020 It took me a while to get back into my account. I'd forgotten the information after like 10 password guesses. First game I go to is Sword Fights on the Heights original, baby. You know how we do it over here, bro. This is the greatest game on Roblox. I don't care what nobody says. Yeah, then a legend appears to me under the username of S'mores IV. Okay, and we'll get into S'mores IV later, man. But that boy is a legend, right? He comes to me and he talks about, he starts talking about how he's got this community of older players.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, at first I kind of dissuaded it. Like, I didn't really care about sword fighting as a whole, but he seemed like a cool enough guy. So I started talking to him more and started to meet more people. And from there, I started making more sword fighting content. And my content, what was that?
And more friends as well. Right?
Yeah, and more friends as well. I eventually met you, met Konamias as well. I met a lot of people in a short amount of time. And I start making the sword fighting content. And at first, I had gotten a lot of recognition because I ended up getting the otherworldly rank at Sword Fight Facility, right? Which put a lot of attention on my name. And from there, I started dealing with a lot of toxic people, a lot of people trying to steal that title, which keep in mind, like, I don't even know how I got that title. This is all within the span of 2 months. I just came back. You have all these people that have been sword fighting for years, and I somehow got this rank. And I swear it was by luck, bro. It was by luck that I was able to get that rank. Okay. And my channel just took off. There are videos that were on my channel that touched 40K, 50K views that have gotten taken down, I guess because they were deemed inappropriate. Anybody that see my videos, you know what it was. You know what was going on, bro. Like, there was no way those videos would stand on YouTube, bro. Okay, I never cared about being the best. I would say I was a pretty good sword fighter. But I was the king of trolling. I brought a lot of entertainment to the community, and just like Corbin with his impact on Sword Fights on the Heights, when I had dropped a montage on Sword Fights on the Heights original, which unfortunately got taken down, which till this day I'm very pressed about, that video amassed over 30K views and got taken down, and I still have the screenshot by Shiletsky Studios because of copyright claims due to me using the game in footage, which made no sense at all.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy, and I have the screenshot somewhere in my Discord server if you guys don't believe me. And after that, while that video was popping, this game, I remember when I first came back, was getting 20 to 30 players active at once. And this became my like hangout spot. I would come here while talking to the people on my Discord server, talking to my team about new video ideas. When I would edit videos, I would sit in this server all night and just like kind of go back and forth. This server, this game jumped, and within a couple months, jumped from 20 to 30 active players to 150 to 200 active players in that time while I was active. And like Corbin said, I'm not going to sit here and take all the credit for that. I just feel like I definitely had an impact on this game alone and a lot of other sword fighting games. I had a lot of people that have reached out to me that said they found sword fighting through me. A lot of people who have came to me and said my sword fighting content made them want to keep sword fighting and just stuff like that, bro. So I feel like during a pretty dry period of sword fighting, I posted content that, because Sato and Konamias were the only two other YouTubers. The rest of the other YouTubers were all just kind of like toxic 1v1ers, And Sato and Konamias both quit pretty much early into my YouTube life. And I felt like I was pretty much the only one pushing content out. Kind of in a way putting the whole community on my shoulders for a while. And I'm happy to see people like Corbin making videos now, and he's doing really well. I'm happy to see Sato is back. It's really, really cool. It makes me happy, bro. And that's pretty much it, bro. What about you, Mr. Handsome Sato?
Thank you, Daddy Brick. So for me, it was all about representing Sword Fighting Original, just representing this community. It all started down from here. And then it started looking at a bigger picture, representing the whole of sword fighting. I never cared about money. I didn't care about subscribers. I didn't care about anything. I only cared about this community and the sword fighting community as a whole, and how we can revive sword fighting and how we can and how we can reshape it as well into a stronger community. So that's why I'm here, bringing back Bree, bringing back Corbin. We're bringing all the boys back. We're bringing every boy back. We're bringing all the guys back to help with reviving sword fighting. That's why I've brung back Kona Mears. That's why I brought back Brepoper and Corbin, so we can all start somewhere in reviving sword fighting. Okay, that's the end of my description. So now let's move on to the second question. What's the future for content creation of sword fighting? Will there be a return for Brepoper and Corbin? The fans want to know. The people want to know. Corbin, we'll start with you. Are you coming back to sword fighting? And if so, why? And if not, why not?
Am I coming back? That's a good question. Here, I will say this.
Yeah.
I'll say this. This is not, I did post something like 4 months ago saying, oh, I'm retired. I'm engaged now. I got things to focus on.
Yeah.
I will say right now, this is not the end of my content creation. And honestly, but this time of the year, between September and December, this is when I feel most motivated to make stuff, to make content. I don't know what it is. It's cooler outside. You know, the vibes are better. We got Halloween. Halloween is my favorite time of the year, by the way. I love spooky season. Love everything about it. Thanksgiving,
bro.
Christmas, New Year's, like my birthday's even during this time of the year. So this is what is not to like about this time of the year.
Yeah.
So that's where I feel the most motivated to make content. And yeah, I'm ready. I got a video that I plan to post this month. Yeah, to answer the question, no, this is not the end. This is the time of the year that I'm most motivated, and
A comeback.
we're gonna see what happens.
Yes, a Corbin comeback.
It's hilarious you say that because when I was making videos, the fall and winter season were the best seasons
Dude,
to make
there's
videos.
something about it.
There's something. It's just about it. You're indoor. You have the indoor vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like you're just chilling.
Yeah.
The best was hopping on early in like a winter morning. It's snowing outside,
Yeah.
and you make a video, bro. Like you just, it was just you drink a black coffee, you're chilling,
No way.
and you're
Yeah.
just having a good time, bro. It's more natural in that time, because you genuinely have less things to do.
Brepoper, what about you? How would you?
Sadly, no, I will never come back to this community, bro. I am never gonna make videos again for sword fighting, bro. Just because, bro, I've kind of like been there, done that kind of situation, bro, where I've kind of reached a peak at a certain point where I just didn't see any more growth coming.
Everybody put a sad emoji in the chat. Brepoper is not.
No, man,
He is not.
it's a good thing though. It's a good thing though because I don't want to come back. You know what I'm saying? And mainly being just in my time as a YouTuber, I just dealt with with this community a lot of crazy allegations, a lot of crazy toxic people coming after me, many attempts to dox me, many attempts to expose me. I even had a girl come out one time and make a false claim that I was a pedophile, which was absolutely disgusting, bro. Yeah, and just stuff like that. Like it's just like when you're on the internet and you have attention.
Yeah.
Especially like Corbin is different, bro. Corbin actually has a really, really clean, cool channel, bro, that I respect a lot. Versus my former content was very, very toxic as well. Even though I was combating toxic players and cheaters and pedophiles myself, the content I was pushing out might not have had the best influence on people watching the videos. Even though,
I agree.
like I told you guys earlier, people who knew sword fighting could understand my content and would find my content hilarious. But people outside of sword fighting would never understand why is Brepoper violating kids on Roblox. You know what I'm saying? They would think I'm absolutely nuts. You know what I mean? So it kind of just brought a lot of toxicity back my way. And I just didn't mess with those vibes, especially since I was really trying to push a positive vibe, but probably went about it the wrong way. But it's still, that entire ride was good memories. Everyone that was there for it, that watched the videos, that were part of the community, I love all you guys. You guys know it was a fun ride, bro. And we had a lot of good memories. So I'm very, very happy that I had that experience. but I would never do it again, and definitely not sword fighting on Roblox, bro. I just can't do it.
I used to watch your content back in the day. Like, I did not miss a single video. I used to watch all your content. You were extremely entertaining, and you were one of the main reasons that I was sword fighting in the first place. Yes, I
That
had
means a
sword
lot,
fight on the
bro.
heights, but just regular sword fighting, like hopping on sword fighting facility, you were one of the main reasons that I even played that game. So you were very influential, and you touched on that. So I got to give you your flowers for that.
I appreciate that. That like touches the heart for your boy, bro. It means a lot, bro. And that's what I mean. Like, see, people like you who were around for that time. It was, bro. You understood it was pure entertainment in our community, bro. And yeah, it was a lot of fun, and outsiders wouldn't get that, bro. But Corbin, man, you touched my heart, bro. I wish you weren't engaged, no homo.
I'm single, so I mean.
No, bro, no. I'm talking about coming back, bro. What's wrong with you? Not coming out of the closet, bro. Coming back to sword fighting.
Have me, man. You can have me. Honestly, the future for content creation as a whole is I don't know if I want to continue. I probably won't continue with the sword fighting creation, like the videos and stuff, because it was all to represent, like I said, represent sword fighting. I didn't care about the money. I didn't care about other content creation. All I cared was representing sword fighting, and that goes in all genres: bridge sword fighting, sword fights original, fencing, custom duels, order duels, everything. Just representing everybody as a whole. So no, I will not be posting any more videos after this podcast. I will post one more goodbye video, and that will be it. Um, I'll think about it. I have to think if I'm going to return and come back again. I'll return the day sword fighting becomes great again. So when sword fighting becomes great again, then I'll return. But for now, no. For now, I won't be. Okay, next question.
Here, I want to touch on something real quick. Sorry, dude. You put a mic in front of my face, I can just talk. So I don't know what the age of your guys' viewers were. Like for mine, the typical age of my viewers was between 18 and 24. Brepoper, do you remember what yours was?
Honestly, yeah, it was kind of, it was a range. Like, you said yours was what again? I'm sorry.
It was like mostly 18 to 24. I think it was like 40% of my viewers were 18 to 24.
Yeah, I would say mine were, bro, it was like a very vast range. Like, I've met people, I've never like looked into it that deeply, but I know that there were people that were 11, 12 years old watching my videos, and I've met people that were above 20 watching my videos. So I don't know exactly, but I feel like there was a vast range of ages watching my videos. Not sure. I would say that main demographic was probably younger.
Yeah, and that's where I wanted to go with this. Probably the majority of people that are watching our content are younger people. They fall into the younger crowd. So to explain why, I don't speak for all three of us, but probably the main reason that why all three of us are moving on is because you get older. You once you get a full-time job, you get responsibilities, you move out, you got bills to pay. You don't have time to create content like this anymore. And that's where I'm getting to with the point in my life. I'm not far from it. I'm right there. I'm engaged right now. I'm about to take that next step. And that next step consists of building a life with my future wife.
Yeah.
Right. And Roblox is not going to be existent in
100%.
that new life. So
100%. Congratulations, my boy.
Congratulations, man.
yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Congratulations to the both of you guys, because you guys are both seeming to do really well in life. You guys are really looking after yourselves. So congratulations to you both for moving on with your life and not really staying.
Whoa. We're not gonna act like Sato ain't like a fitness influencer, bro, with a body that looks like he's on steroids, dog.
All right, let's move on to the next question. All right, since you guys are both moving on and I'm moving on slowly because, like Corbin said, age. Can we rebuild classic sword fighting? And if so, how can we rebuild classic sword fighting to its former glory? I'll start first, and then Corbin will go, and then Briefhop will go next. Okay, can we rebuild sword fighting? Yes, we can. even though these games have exploiters on them, like the original Sword Fighting the Heights, Bridge Sword Fighting is practically dead. Fencing is just the testing ground for exploiters. We can still rebuild sword fighting. And you might say, how? How? Well, I'm working with a man named Dom. Corbin knows a guy named Dom. And he reforged Sword Fighting Heights IV. He reforged the whole game, and it's very popular now, and it's growing very well. And what I'm doing now, I'm replicating what he's done, and I'm working alongside with Dom, and we're going to be focusing on rebuilding fencing, rebuilding bridge sword fighting, rebuilding original. We're going to rebuild all these classic games that are dead or have exploiters on them. So that's number one. So the question was, how can we rebuild sword fighting? I've just answered the question is remaking the versions. Corbin, do you want to answer? Want to speak your truth, Corbin?
Okay, so how can we rebuild sword fighting? That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So my opinion, I love how you touched on that. That's yes, entirely making new games or recreating new games to get people engaged with that content. Yes, that's 100% a reason. In my opinion, right now, literally nobody other than Sato is bringing attention to the sword fighting community. There are literally no. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
You're
Who
not
else
wrong.
is doing it right now?
You're not wrong.
Literally nobody is doing it right now. So having no active sword fighting content creators out there to keep this fire alive is how are you going to keep sword fighting alive? You know what I mean?
Help, Corbin. I need your help.
Yeah. So yeah, when nobody's making content or shining a light on sword fighting at all, it's going to slowly start to fade away. People are going to forget about it. New players are never going to get introduced to it, and the community it's literally just going to fall off. So to summarize it, content it's what fuels interest. When people see videos, streams, or sword fighting challenges, like things that I used to do, things like Brepoper used to do, it creates hype. It brings fresh faces into the community, keeps people engaged. It keeps veterans engaged that have played the game forever.
Yeah.
And without that, it's I don't know. It's really hard for a community to grow.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
What do you think? What do you think of it, Brepoper? What are your thoughts on it?
Indian girl just whispered me saying, "Do you remember me, bro?" Like what, bro? I definitely think you can rebuild the games. You know what I'm saying? I just think you gotta kind of modernize them a little bit. You know what I mean? Because I mean, games like Sword Fights on the Heights original, like the only reason people like us love them is because it's a classic in our hearts. And the only reason you like a lot of these newer players that you see, I mean, if you pay attention to the island, like I mean, I'm sorry, the middle of the battlefield, they're just all chilling and talking, bro. They're not even sword fighting. They all threw their swords in the middle. You know what I'm saying? So this game is more so became a chill spot. And I mean, how does a game like Sword Fights on the Heights original compare to the games you're going to see on the front page of Roblox? You know what I'm saying? These kids don't want something that's this simple. They need more. They need something to constantly push their dopamine.
Yeah.
More stimulating, exactly. They need things that are just going to keep them entertained for longer periods of time. So you got to modernize them a little bit. Maybe add some. You got to add some form of system that keeps them engaged. The IV game is probably out of all the classic sword fighting games was the most advanced by far. I mean, you have
100%.
the biggest map. You have multiple different styles of swords. You have multiple different styles. Play styles due to the swords. You have popular communities like the streaking community, which, like, let's all be real. Like, if you haven't tried a streak on IV, are you really a sword fighter, bro? You know, yeah. So IV was probably the easiest one to kind of get refreshed because it still has some form of non-simplicity to it, if that makes sense. It still has more than just sword fighting. It has just a variety of different ways you can play that game. You could just go on there and chill. You can go on there and streak. You can go on there and just try out different styles with different swords, you know? So I think, first of all, IV is a classic, but it's the most advanced classic. Fencing, original, bridge. I'm not sure how you would modernize those. Maybe you'd have to add for sure you'd have to have like a consistent leaderboard.
Yeah.
Maybe you'd have to add rankings to the games. You would have to
We'll do well. We'll do it.
yeah, you just got to really brainstorm how can you modernize it? You know, how can you make it adaptive to today's style of games or as close as you can
And can it be
to what
replicated
Roblox is.
as well?
Gotta have a
Can it-
battle pass, bro.
It's
Gotta
just
have a
as
battle
well,
pass.
Yeah, you
make
got
it
to
a
have a
game.
battle pass.
Yeah.
Some
just
kind of
remake it.
updates. It's gotta be frequent updates.
Speaking of battle passes, bro, like I just want to throw this out there. As good of a game as Fortnite was, it did ruin gaming as a whole, bro.
It did.
Just want to put that out there.
Can it be replicated to other sword fighting games? What Dom did, can it be replicated to, bridge sword fighting or fencing? It can.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know because, like I said, IV is out of all the classic games. It's not just a little advanced. It's way more advanced. Even back in the day when we were kids, and these were the most popular games on the site. Original was a front page game. Bridge Sword Fight was a very popular game. Fencing by Stickmaster Luke was a front page game at one point on Roblox.
Yeah.
It was, and those games are so much more simple than IV. You know what I mean? IV was far more advanced than all those games. So
Okay.
IV was the easiest to kind of modernize because it already was kind of advanced compared to these other ones. So can they be replicated? Yes, but can they be pushed to become popular again? I don't know. It would not. It would have to be different than the replication. It would have to be the replication with advanced features to it.
Yeah.
And how you're going to implement those? Yeah, how you're going to implement the advanced features? I'm not sure. I'm really not.
Well, that
Sword
brings
fight
me to another
facility.
point.
Go ahead.
You
Go
said
ahead,
you
bro. My
don't
bad, bro.
know. You said you don't know. I'll answer it. Project fencing. So we got project fencing. I have come up with a team of five, me, Dom, and a team of five. With scripters and devs. We're gonna customize it and we're going to advance it to what normal kids like with stimulation nowadays. We're gonna be rebuilding fencing and we're gonna come up with a fencing revamped version that's not just basic, it's gonna have advanced, it's gonna be it's gonna be advanced so kids can enjoy it. There's going to be a leaderboard. What you just said. It's going to be a lot more different. There's going to be a lot more tweaks, and it's going to be advanced fencing. So that's what we're going to look for in this creation. So what do you think, Brepoper? What do you have to say about project fencing?
I'm excited to see what you can do,
Yeah.
and I hope it pops off for you guys, bro. Truly.
Yeah. Corbin?
Yeah, I agree. Fencing was never really something that I took a lot of interest in. I'd played it hundreds of times over the years. It just was never my thing. I'm glad that you guys are taking something that you enjoy, a community that's kind of died off. There's not really many people that are playing fencing anymore. I'm glad that you guys are taking the initiative to try to revive that community. Just like how Dom did with Sword Fight on the Heights 4, I 100% think it's possible. I'm excited to see where you guys take it.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. All right. Next question. We'll start off with Brepoper, then we'll move on to Corbin, and then myself last. What's the future for sword fighting as a small community? So, what is the future for sword fighting as a small community? Since it is a very small community compared to a lot of front page games today, and it's very old as well. It's a very old, obscure community that's not very touched upon the younger kids anymore. Younger kids, like Bree Popper said, they have a lot of high stimulation now. They don't care about sword fighting games. Whereas all of us here, all of us are early 2000s kids. So we grew up playing melee games. So what's the future for this small community?
Yeah, I mean, it's really up in the air right now. It's kind of quiet. It's almost like we're in hibernate mode. There's nobody, I mentioned it before, there's nobody posting content. Communities that were once alive 5-6 years ago are dead now. They just needs that hype. Somebody needs to bring the hype back. That's how you just, I don't know. That's how you revive it, in my opinion. I feel like I touched on that earlier, but that's where I see improvements can be made.
Definitely agree. I mean, I haven't been on sword fighting in about a couple years. Now that I kind of came back for 3 days because Sato dragged me out here, and it just seems really quiet, bro. Like very quiet. I definitely want to attribute a lot of sword fighting's popularity to COVID. Like, unfortunately, during a really bad time, it did bring a lot of people back to sword fighting. Yeah, I would want to say that in that time period, there was two reasons like really promoting sword fighting, and I would give it to myself on the content creation side. And back to who I was calling out earlier, I want to also give a lot of flowers to S'mores IV because S'mores IV did a lot and he never gets talked about ever. Like he never ever gets mentioned. He never gets his flowers. But bro, S'mores IV was literally creating groups, reviving dead groups. He even revived Bridge Sword Fight for a period of time. Yeah, he did a lot behind the scenes, and me and him for a period of time were best friends, and we were working together but just in different ways. He was really active with the communities, with the groups, with the games, and I was obviously very active with the content creation. And I feel like that combination in that time period had a major effect, and there's just nobody doing that right now actively on either side. Nobody is doing what S'mores IV was doing. And also, when you say S'mores IV, you got to also give your flowers to people like Leet. I don't know if you guys know who Leet is, but Leet had a really big impact as well. I just don't think people talk about that. What S'mores IV and Leet did for the community. Leet was more so really impactful for like the older players. S'mores was too, but S'mores was both. He was creating new energy for the community while also helping out with communities for the older players. And I definitely think that if sword fighting is to continue, you need people like that. Like Corbin is saying, nobody's doing that at all. And the community is like, it's not dead, right? But it's very quiet. It's very like, very, yeah, it's you're seeing these games and there's not that many players. Like I know for a fact when I was doing YouTube, this game, like I said, was touching 100 plus players at all times of the day. You had games like Sword Fight Facility that would touch 50 to 100 players. You had games like Custom Duels touching 300 players. You had games like Auto Duels touching 50 players, and now a lot of these games are yeah, they're very at the time they were. I don't know about now. I've scoured them a little bit, and they seem, like I said, it just seems a lot more quiet. Like there is not really any big name sword fighters. There's not any big name people pushing for the community to grow. So that's definitely what attributes to it. I don't know if like the sword fighting community will ever be huge again, it's on Roblox, because Roblox is just a massive platform at this point and it's way too big. And the games that are being pushed out nowadays, like I'm talking about these games that are created by full developer teams and have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars being funded into the game, and like all the way from expenses to paying your devs, paying moderators, paying people to control your Discord server, paying people to paying for ads, things like that. Does anybody in the sword fighting community have the funds to do that? And even if they did, is the potential for the games that high? You get what I'm saying? So it's just like, why push on a game genre that doesn't have the highest potential? So people that really are passionate about growing something, there's got to be something on the other end for them. There's got to be some form of reimbursement for their time and their effort and their money and whatever it is, and does sword fighting really offer that? It really doesn't. It doesn't. And if it does, like, that's a miracle, bro. If someone is able to pull that off, that's a miracle, bro. But and if we're speaking in terms of reality, the chances of that happening are very low. So anyone that's pushing stuff for sword fighting genuinely cares about sword fighting, because they know that there really isn't any benefit to it.
The reason sword fighting, in my opinion, that it's dying, or if it's not already dead, it's already at its death, is because of lack of sword fighting games to support it. Right? You only have very few sword fighting games like custom duels, auto duels, and then all these sword fighting facility as well. Sword Fighters IV. Lack of games and lack of games being made to support the sword fighting. So that's another reason why sword fighting is dying, because the games that are being built, and they're only like what? Sword fighting and flex your time. Those games are the ones that are being built, and the player base is only like 1 year or 2 years. They only last for 2 years. They don't last for long. And because it's just the simplicity of it, it's so boring and it's so repetitive. It's boring, and that's why a lot of the young people that play these games, they end up not continuing with sword fighting. They don't continue with sword fighting.
Yeah, I agree. And without a strong foundation, it is hard to stick around long term. Like instead of being a lifelong sword fighter, people literally just kind of phase out after a short run. Like there's people that I was friends with that would literally only play for 1 year because there's no new content out there. They're like, what am I supposed to play? Sword Fight on the Heights original? There's no updates happening here. Sword Fight on the Heights 4, the game's unplayable right now. You can only play these games for a certain amount of time before it's just the same thing. So you guys summed it up well. I got nothing else to say about it.
Question number 10. The exploiters epidemic. How can we fix this for sword fighting? Or is it just inevitable? I'll start off with here, and then you guys can carry on and continue what I say. Exploiting has been around for years. I'd say a whole decade, maybe longer than a decade. I remember before Snips exploits, there used to be RC7 exploits on this game. This game was 10 years ago. There used to be RC7. And it's always been a problem. Like I remember kids used to just get B tools and delete the whole map, and we'd have to change maps every 2 seconds. We'd always have to change the maps. They'd always delete B tools or change the whole map to like a 666 scary theme.
Bro, I remember that, bro. I remember that, bro. Oh my gosh. Dude, I actually want to speak on that. Listen, bro. You know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Is back in the day, and I'm talking about like 2010, 11, 12. So like the popular form of how everybody would exploit on Roblox was through a program called Cheat Engine. I don't know if Cheat Engine is still a thing. But back then when people would exploit, like everybody thought exploiters were the coolest people ever, bro. Everybody did. Like cuz back then exploiters were never toxic. So people would they would exploit the game and they would FF themselves, which just means they'd give themselves a permanent force field. They would God mode themselves. They would no clip, or they could walk off the map. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then bro, it would develop. It kept developing. Eventually people were able to start getting B tools in the server. And they would just build to the map, and people would think it was cool back then. Like they would add, like Sato, you see this little island right here? They would add, like they would extend this little bridge here so that it would reach the island. They would take the platforms and they would add the platforms, like just stuff like that. And eventually it got to the R3, which was like near the end of my time playing as a kid, which was kind of like 2013. And bro, those people, what they would do, like you said, they would change the entire background of the map to like a scary image or something inappropriate. Bro, one time I joined and it was a picture of a naked black guy, bro. And I never in my life I got that excited, bro. I mean, never in my life did I get that like that shook. That shook. That shook. I never see something that big. I mean, listen, bro, that doesn't matter. That's irrelevant. Look. It got so bad that they would destroy the whole map to the point where there was just the spawns, and you would just spawn into an empty map, bro. And it was the worst. It was terrible, bro. That was honestly one of the most annoying times in the original community, bro. Because that not just original, it happened in IV. Fencing was unbelievable because then you'd have someone go on fencing and just kill anyone that stepped on the platform, and then you'd just be sitting on the side waiting.
Question number 11. The problem with Hall of Fame games, the epidemic of them. So, you have those Hall of Fame games like Hall of Pounders and Sword Fighting Heights Hall of Fame. What are you guys' opinions on it? I'll answer this last, Brepoper and Corbin. So let's lead the question to Brepoper. What's your thought on it?
So my honest opinion about these sword fight Hall of Fames, bro, is I just think they're so corny, bro. Like, I don't understand why these people are making these Hall of Fames. You have no real sense of the history. There's definitely a lot of glazing going on, and I already know what's going on, bro. I just know it's a group of OGs that are kind of pushing these new generation players to make it, and then giving them this false sense of history to kind of put them and their friends above a lot of other people that really did contribute. For example, bro, like I know that there's a lot of these older groups, and I'm not going to say any names for these groups, bro. But one thing, I was there for these OG days. I was there for it, bro.
Yeah.
In the OG days, there was no super popular sword fighters. There was no super crazy group that everybody wanted to join. There was definitely respective groups, but it wasn't like a big deal, if that makes sense, bro. Like, it wasn't like people cared about that stuff back then. And back then, the community was a lot smaller and more tight knit, meaning that's why you see a lot of OGs now that remember each other, because the community was tight knit and everybody kind of knew everybody, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You would frequent, if you frequented the same games, you would run into the same people on a daily basis, bro. Like, it's unbelievable how I could see some of these older players' usernames and then immediately vividly remember being in a server with them 10 plus years ago. It's mind blowing, but that goes to show you that the community was much smaller back then, and it wasn't how they portray it, and I feel like the people that are doing it are these kind of like later older gen players, like the 2014 15 beyond, and they're just kind of like glazing each other, and a lot of people that don't get their flowers are just getting completely disregarded, bro. Like,
Yeah.
once again, another name that I want to bring up is S'mores, bro. I never see S'mores
Shout out
Hall of
S'mores.
Fames. Yeah, shout out S'mores, bro. I never see him in any of these Hall of Fames, and I know I keep saying his name, but it's because people are underestimating what this guy did for the community behind the scenes, bro. Big time. And a lot of, and here's something that was happening while me and S'mores were popping off at the same time. A lot of the older generation players, and not all of them, but a good amount. And I honestly want to take a moment just to speak about my experience with these older generation players, right? Mind you, S'mores is a player from 2011. He's an OG, no matter what anybody says. That's a long time. 2011 is a long time ago, bro. And that is still in the early years. A lot of these older generation players came back to the community thinking like they were hot, like hot shit, bro. Excuse my language. But they just thought that everybody needed to bow down to them, or it was a problem. And bro, it was just lame. Like, I was disappointed to run into some people that I knew were from back in the day, and they just acted like absolute cocky degenerates, bro.
Yeah.
And it was like, dude, we're like past that age, bro. And it's not even just past age. When we were younger,
Yeah.
we were all like cooler, bro. Like, it was cooler. You were not acting like this, bro. And now they just all are so toxic, bro. And it's like, dude, come on, bro. You're a grown ass man, dog. Why? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Why do you feel that way? And S'mores IV and myself, well, it started with S'mores IV. S'mores IV would get a lot of hate from older generation players. I swear he did. Like, a lot of them would just completely disregard him. And then it led to me kind of like, bro, I would see this, and me being me, like the guy who does not care about sword fighting, and I'm not really an internet person, so when I see these personas, I'm gonna troll you, bro. I'm gonna call you out and troll you. A lot of the older generation players did not like me because I would troll them, bro. I would clown them. And bro, I'll give you guys a funny story. There is an OG player who went by the name Broken Flame.
Oh, that
And
guy.
keep in mind, I never I know you remember this one,
I
Sato, but
remember this.
I never met this person ever once in my life.
Yeah.
And people were sending me screenshots of this dude absolutely bashing my name,
Yeah.
absolutely clowning on me.
Where's Corbin
And
in this game?
I'm right here.
Oh,
yeah, and
Just listening.
and
Sorry.
yeah, and my bad if I'm ranting on. My bad if I'm ranting on,
no,
bro.
you're right.
But uh Dude, so I get a call. I still have the video. I just unlisted that one. But bro, immediately just so toxic in a Discord call, just going at me, bro. Starts posting messages in OG Discord servers talking about, is Brepoper one of the best OA, or like, dude, what are you talking about, bro? And I just completely clowned him for a video. And that was my general experience with majority of the older generation players. They were just weirdos, dude. Like as if they never stopped playing Roblox. And now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that's what it was, bro. That they grew up, spent majority of their interactions with other people on the internet, so they had no general sense of what reality was. So that turned them into absolute degenerates, bro. And a lot of these Hall of Fames are influenced by these people, and that's why it's just unbelievable glazery, bro. From what I've seen, even I don't get flowers in these Hall of Fames like that, which I really genuinely don't care. But if you look at it from a logistics standpoint, I probably had the most viewed YouTube channel in sword fighting history. Like when I had all my videos up,
Yeah.
I remember amassing over 1 million total views. Like it shows you on your account. So it's like it doesn't make sense. And and that's what shows you, like, people aren't really getting their flowers in these Hall of Fames. And on top of that, bro, it's like it's just corny, bro. It's like, dude, I don't know about you guys. I just don't think people care like that. I don't think people are looking at these Hall of Fames. There was one I had seen when I was still making videos. It was called the OG Graveyard. And I thought that was a pretty cool game because it had all the older players from like original and IV and like a graveyard theme game. And it gave props to everybody, bro. Everybody was in that game. And whoever made that game, like that was a cool vibe. That was a cool video. But it only mattered to people who actually played back then, if that makes sense. That was like, that's what they're cool for, bro. But these Hall of Fame games, like you said, there's like 10 of them now. It's like getting out of hand, bro. And I never even knew they existed until people started. I just came back and people were showing them to me. And I'm just like, dude, like people are really, really glazing hard, bro. And like, how are you gonna put people in the same tier as Telemon, bro? How are you gonna disrespect Telemon, bro?
Yeah.
No, bro, no. See, this is where it gets crazy, bro. You're not gonna disrespect Telemon by putting him in the same ranking as regular players, bro. What Corbin has to say.
So, Brepoper, I want to first say I agree with everything that you just said. There's nothing that you said that I do not agree with. However, I got to speak to the positive side of these Hall of Fames. To me, I think they are really cool. I think it's awesome to showcase players that kind of preserve the history in the sword fighting community. I loved walking through and reviewing some of these games. Recently, I just reviewed the Hall of Poners game and the Sword Fight on the Heights Hall of Fame game. Shout out Martin, he put that together. Both of those were so fun to explore because you get to see the names, the achievements, the players, everybody that left their mark on the sword fighting community. Yes, like you said, Brepoper, there is no such thing as a perfect Sword Fight on the Heights Hall of Fame. There's no such thing as a perfect new animation, old animation Hall of Fame. You can't make it perfect. And I've touched on that in my previous video, but I mean, that's what makes those games special, in my opinion. It gives players something to be proud of, and it gives the community something to look back and see where sword fighting community came from. Yeah. So that's my take on it. I got to speak to the positives of it, but I agree with.
I respect that. No, I respect that. I respect that to agree. I won't lie. Like when I checked them out, it was cool to see a lot of names that I did recognize for sure. I definitely respect where you're coming from with that, and it's just. That's just how I see it, but it's how you see it. But I respect it, bro. You're right, and I'm sure it's probably cool for a lot of the newer players as well that go and check that out. Definitely.
Sato, the game that you just reviewed. No, I'm just rambling on. Sato, the game that you just reviewed, that sword fighting Hall of Fame game. Whoever put that together, I forget what his name was, did an excellent job. Yeah. That is
Gustavo, the cool one, yeah.
That is an incredible game, and that guy deserves all the credit in the world for putting that together. So what new players can do with these Hall of Fames, it's incredible. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, compared to the other games like Hall of Pounders and the Sword Fight Arts original one, The museum is by far the best one because it highlights everything. Like it highlights their description, it highlights their achievements, the trophies that they've gotten. It's displayed. It's like a displayed museum. So it's really cool. It's very creative. I love the idea. I give my full credit and my full credit to the Verizon and Gustavo for doing that game. That was one of the best games ever. And just like how Brepoper discussed, I have to agree with everything Brepoper has to say. It's very self-glazing. It's very and it's biased as well. Very biased because these Hall of Fame games, like Hall of Pounders, especially that game, they only choose you if you're part of what they like. If they like you, they'll choose you. It's a very biased, one sided game.
Exactly.
And it's not entirely a good game as well, a good concept. But the museum, out of all of those games, the museum by far is the best one out there. Next question. Number one, by someone no importance, made a comment about this. Shout out to you. What are challenges or records that have not been beaten that would be cool if someone did beat it? I believe new players might try to attempt to beat it. Okay. Then they have the second question. They have a second question as to what were the different eras of sword fighting were. Who dominated in each era and what era was the best? I think Brepoper can say this and elaborate on this. Number three, he has three questions. What was it like playing in 2014 Clan Wars? Was this your hardest achievement? If not, which others stand out? I can answer this because I played in this Clan Wars in 2014. I think Corbin played it as well. He can answer that as well. Number four, why did you start sword fighting and why did you retire? Any advice to new players starting out? Okay, so let's answer the first question. What are the challenges or records that have not been beaten that would be cool if someone did beat it? I believe new players might try to attempt to beat it. All right, Brepoper, answer away.
Definitely. There. I don't know what the streak record on IV is now. I'm sure Corbin knows.
Dude, I was going to mention the same thing. I have no idea. There's been a lot of fake streaks in the past. There's people that have claimed to hit 2000 and 0. I have witnessed I know Pyromance, his streak was mostly legit and his was 1484 now, if I remember
I remember
correctly.
that one. I do remember that one.
I think
Yeah.
he admitted to using the Dark Heart glitch. I don't remember, but I know for the most part he was a legit streaker. I would be crazy to yeah, legitimate. I know Gulek right now, Scareglow, those guys are legit streakers. They've hit records of 700 to 1000 and 0. It would be impressive to see anybody reach that milestone with how the community is right now, with how dead it is.
Yeah, I know, Sato, you have the record for the most kills on our original with 3,000 plus.
Yeah, yeah, that was
Um,
bombed as well. There's a lot of my record has been broken by AKT, but there's a lot of like talk around if it was legit or not, but it doesn't really matter. What about you, Brepoper? What do you reckon are the best records on this game that should be beaten? And if not, which ones are hard to beat?
I would definitely say, honestly, I don't like those are really the only two things that are impressive records are the most kills on original and then the streak record on IV. I think both are really hard to beat. I mean, IV is just if you know streaking, you know why that's difficult. I mean, it takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, and a lot of luck as well. You got to get because you could easily get unlucky. You know, on original, the concept of getting a lot of kills is easy, but there's so many different things that you can run into, like because that just takes a lot of time. And in that time, you can run into someone who's going to come and exploit the server. You can run into or you can run into a disconnection. And I'm sure like that 3,000 kill took you like 10 hours plus, yeah?
Yeah, it did take a long time.
Yeah, so like you can run into a lot of obstacles in that time, bro, where it just ruins it for you. And honestly, I don't know if the Ivy Reforged has like an anti-cheat,
I think
but
it
I'm sure the
does.
same thing could happen there.
It
Yeah,
does.
so yeah, I know for like the original IV, like you could be streaking and someone could come loop ring the entire server and you're cooked. You know what I mean? And if Reforged doesn't has an anti cheat, then that definitely eliminates that problem. Then you just have to it just comes down to skill, patience, and you do gotta have a little luck in it.
You know, Brepoper, there is one that hasn't been beaten yet, and it's not on any of these games. It's on fencing. I attempted to do it many times, maybe 5 times, but It's 500 and 0, so 500 and 0 on fencing. That has not been beaten. So the question is as well, like, has there been any records that haven't been beaten? It's this one, 500 and 0. Nobody's ever done 500 and 0. Why? Because of the exploiters. It's an exploit in heaven, like it's exploiters everywhere. So that's also why it's very hard to streak nowadays, anyways, because of exploiters, and in my opinion. And Corbin, you want to answer this? What was it like playing in the 2014 clan battles? Was this your hardest achievement? If not, which one stands out? So what was it like?
Sato, you're gonna have to help me with this. So it was a sword fighting event, and I got I remember I got the silver Bloxer trophy, which was like the paintball one. But if I remember correctly, there was a paintball event, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Or
there
am I?
was.
There
It's
was.
called the silver one, the silver clan battle wars event. It was 2014.
Right.
Yeah,
So the games that were involved um,
yeah.
in that whatever event, there was a sword fighting one, there was a paintball one, and wasn't there another? Wasn't there like 3 or 4 games?
Yeah, there was. There was.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. I just remember putting in a lot of time into it and coming up just short of the gold trophy,
Yeah.
which was kind of frustrating, but it was fun. It was a
It
fun
was fun.
event.
Like, what do you recall of that? Like, what do you remember?
Um, I remember the sword fighting one. There would be different maps, and you'd kind of just go, dude, I don't, it's been 12 years.
Wasn't
I
there the
can only tell you
space?
so much.
It was the space showdown map, the paintball brawl. Remember that? And the medieval.
I remember like a King of the Hill for one of them.
Yeah.
There's clips of this on YouTube that I had just recently watched like a year ago
Corbin received the silver block, so I had the actual gold one as well with my clan at the time. It was clans, so it was whichever clan came. Remember
with like
that?
the bearded alien.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
remember that
yeah,
guy?
yeah.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
that's funny. I used to
Bro.
watch his live streams all the time.
Do you remember Bear Ghost YouTubes as well?
Yes, dude, nobody's gonna know what we're talking about.
Bro, they don't
Everybody
know.
that's watching this is
Even
gonna
I
be too
don't.
young. Those were the good days.
And then you had EXO
There he
as
goes.
well. Yeah.
I don't think I knew that guy.
Okay, so why did you start sword fighting and why did you retire? Any advice to new players starting out? Do you want to answer Brepoper first?
Yeah, so I'm not going to include when I came back and during the COVID time. I really just came back for YouTube.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, um, I was first introduced to Roblox by my younger brother, who showed me like this Roblox Derby game, and I signed up. And on the front page was Sword Fights on the Heights original, and I hopped on, and instantly just like I don't know, like it was just fun, bro. It was just fun. I can't explain it. Like it was it was kind of like an addiction, bro.
Yeah.
Like I love to come on here. I love the community, bro. Bro, like there were so many different things about this game, and it just goes back to just how simple times kind of were compared to now.
Yeah.
Like for example, there was this really cool glitch on this game, well, all of Roblox, where if two players, I don't know if you guys will remember this, but if two players ran into each other, you
Yes,
could
yes.
cause like an animation glitch, and you would fly together.
Yeah, that would fly across the
Yeah,
map.
you would fly. Yeah, you would fly as far as you wanted to. So we would all go on top of the mountain and then do it so we can
Yeah.
make it to that island over there.
Yeah.
And if you made it to that island over there, dude, every time I would get there, like it's like, bro, you feel like you're the king of the world, bro. It's weird. It was just cool, bro. Sword fighting was cool. Then
It
it
was
ran
fun.
into like I found games like IV, fencing,
Mm.
bridge. There was even a popular game back then called Classic Fails that was pretty fun, which was just like a base plate.
Yeah.
Once you like found sword fighting enjoyable, any type of sword fighting game back then was enjoyable.
Yeah.
And like even like underground sword fighting, it
Oh
was
yeah.
cool to go on there and like bro, most people there don't understand sword fighting to the degree that a sword fighter would. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I get
So
what you mean.
we would just absolutely dog on people there as well, but it was fun, and then I ended up playing all the way up until 2013. I was a kid, and I was basically getting into my teenager years. I want to say I was turning 12. I just was like, dude, what is Roblox really doing for me? And I had like a pretty good outside life, like in terms of I was playing sports. I had a lot of friends.
Yeah.
I was starting to like start having major crushes on girls, you know, and then hopping on Roblox. Not even just hopping on Roblox, like playing Xbox, because Xbox back then was the shit. You know, I used to play a
Xbox
combination of
360.
Black Ops 2, Minecraft, GTA 5, and Sword Fights on the Heights original. Like on a daily basis, I was playing one of those games. One of my favorite things was coming home after school, and the first thing I would do was run to my dad's computer and play original, bro. And I would play for hours and hours and hours. I just kind of realized that video games wasn't doing anything for me, and I wanted to become an NBA player. I started hooping every day. Started hanging out with my friends every day, and I just never looked back, bro. It just naturally happened. I just stopped playing completely. Not just Roblox, but video games in general, bro. And I also wanted to say that I feel like there's a disconnect with that nowadays with a lot of these players where they don't they don't ever hop off the video games, bro.
Yeah, they
And
don't
I
ever
think
hop
it's
off.
dangerous. I think it's dangerous now because the internet is so advanced compared to back then. And then I don't know when Discord became a thing, but Discord changes the entire game, you know, where
Yeah.
it's so easy to communicate, it's so easy to build a community. It's just kind of like you could live your entire life on Discord, bro.
Yeah.
And I see that with a lot of players, especially on Roblox, bro, where they just, bro, like people online date. They all their friends are on Roblox and they talk to them on Discord. You know, where Roblox has kind of become this platform where it's more of a social platform for the teenagers, and it starts when they're kids playing, and it just, you know, they continue to just go down this path of addiction, internet addiction. And it's scary, bro. It really is scary. And I saw that a lot in my time as a YouTuber, bro. I seen it a lot where I had supporters of my channel in my Discord server, and all they would do is sit in my server and talk all day long, every day. And I would think about it like, dude, aren't you guys in school? Don't you guys ever have friends that you hang out with? Do you do anything outside of the internet, bro?
That was well said. Okay, so what was your first time sword fighting, Corbin? What was your like starting out for the first time? What was your first time?
Yeah, what was my first time? So 2012 was when I joined Roblox. My cousin first introduced me to Roblox. My cousin and my brother both
Best
introduced
year
me to
ever.
Roblox. Yeah. I agree. 2012 to 2014, I had
Best
the
year.
most fun. Yeah.
2012 was the greatest year in sword fighting history,
It
bro.
was fun, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, let's see. Some of the first sword fighting games I played, Build a Hideout and Sword Fight. I had
Oh my
so many
gosh.
memories. That's one of the best sword fighting games ever.
Oh my gosh,
I
you just flashed a
that's
memory in my mind.
one of the best games ever. That is
What back
ranked in
then?
the
What
top
was it?
5 best sword
Yeah, you
fighting
ain't
games.
lying, bro. I forgot about that one, bro.
Yeah.
What
That may have
McDonald's?
been
Zombies
what
at
about which one?
McDonald's?
I didn't I have of course I've heard of that game. I didn't really
Yeah.
play that game a whole
What
lot.
game?
Zombie at McDonald's.
Oh my gosh, zombie at McDonald's, bro. What about survive a night with Jason?
Oh!
See, I played Build to Survive the Zombies. There
I
was
did
a
that
hundred
too. That's
different
also a good
variants for
game.
those games. 100 different variants. But yeah, Build a Hideout and Sword Fight, Sword Fighting Tournament by the Gamer 101
Oh my
highly
gosh.
influenced me. Sword Fight on the Heights original, of course. Sword Fight on the Heights 4. Jan Larry's Sword Fighting base plate or something like that. It's very similar to S'mores IV's sword fighting facility. That's actually where he got the idea. It was from a guy named Jan Larry. That game, there were just so many sword fighting games, and I just fell in love with it. Been doing it ever since. That's the only reason that I play Roblox anymore, is just because of those games. Okay, I think I touched on that. Why did you retire? Why did I retire? I did age growing up, adult life, getting married soon. I just have different priorities. Roblox is not a priority in my life anymore. And then Brepoper, I'm going to back up everything that you said on the advice to newer players starting out. I think you covered that well. So
Yeah.
Thank you. And I can't believe I forgot sword fighting tournament, bro. That's a big one, bro. Sword fighting
Huge.
tournament at one point was the game, bro. The game, like bigger than all the other sword fighting games. I remember it till this day when that game was first popping off. I swear to you, it sapped in all the sword fighters. All of them were playing that game.
Do you remember the events of that Valkyrie helmet that you had in 2014?
I own that Valkyrie helm.
You had to
How many games did you have to win?
Yeah, I think you had to win 20 games, 20 wins.
That game, and we used to be able to gamble on that game too. That game was so fun, bro. Oh my gosh. Hey, looking back, he was a genius for incorporating gambling into that.
That was horrible. Horrible. Sophie, the next question is by Sophie. What do you think of the current state of Roblox, like currently right now, with lawsuits and undergoing being sued for pedophilia? What do you think is the current state of Roblox, and what could the platform improve on? Could sword fighting reach its former glory, which was already answered by all of us originally, but we'll get another answer now, or at least get a player spike? If so, what would be the cause?
I could
Go
answer it
for
because I've actually seen all of that, and I actually kind of got intrigued and looked into it a little bit. So I guess what's going on, to fill you guys in, is basically a YouTuber came out and was exposing pedophiles on Roblox, and he was making videos. He basically got banned, and Roblox sent a cease and desist order to him. And then basically he reached out to a lawyer to sue Roblox, and then, I mean, dude, if you're going to sue a company like Roblox, that's $1 billion corporation at this point, you're going to have a lot of lawyer firms trying to jump on that opportunity to make that money, because they really are in some deep waters right now, because they've lied about, their safe environment for kids. They've lied about their terms of moderation.
Yeah.
They're just being caught in a lot of lies. And with those type of lies, you can sue them for that. And it's actually crazy how big of a deal it's starting to spiral into, where like a really big law firm is taking over the case to sue Roblox. And what will it really do to Roblox? In my honest opinion, Roblox might lose out on a lot of money, right? Their stock might plummet, which I think it already did a little bit, and let it plummet a little bit more, and everybody should go put some money into that, because it will go back up.
I
Roblox
have money in that. Sorry, I need to sell mine now that you're bringing this all up.
I'll first look into it. Don't take my words take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. Me and you will look into that together later.
Okay.
We'll see what the opportunity shows there. But Roblox will not die. It's the biggest platform in the world right now. If you didn't know, Roblox averages 78 million daily users. And if you want to put that into comparison, right, you can take a game like Fortnite. I haven't checked it in a while. Fortnite daily players, and you might say Fortnite is dead now, but it gets 1.1 daily active users. If you want to check another game like maybe Minecraft, right? Minecraft gets 55 million daily active players. If you want to check Steam might actually beat it, bro. Hold on. 69 million. So Roblox, yes, Roblox is the biggest platform. I mean, what other platforms you're putting this in comparison to games like Minecraft, Steam, which Steam is similar to Roblox, where it's a platform with a plethora of games. Yeah, Roblox will never die, and it's only going to grow. I promise you, it's only going to grow. It's going to get bigger. The lawsuit will just result in a loss of money.
And also another trajectory to this, to what you're saying, I agree with everything you said. But another thing is, the worst what could happen is Roblox could get bans on your country, and you cannot play Roblox because it is bans in the country. So it's happened recently to Qatar. That's why Konami is
in China, right? I heard it got banned in China.
China, Qatar as well, and it's going to happen in Australia soon as well. So so yeah, so the worst that can happen is that it's going to get banned eventually in most countries, so you will not be able to play it unless you get a VPN.
Money always will talk, and it will get unbanned. It's just how it always works.
What about you, Corbin?
Brepoper talked about the current state of Roblox. It sounds like he knows more about it than I do. I don't stay up to date on these kinds of things. I come on, I sword fight. That's what I do. I play Sword Fight on the Heights 4. I get bored in 20 minutes. I hop off. I go back to my regular day. So I'm not up to
That's what I
date
do.
on all this stuff. Could sword fighting reach its former glory again? I think it could. We've touched on this 100 times. We need content creators. We need people willing to develop games that are going to keep people engaged. Frequent updates.
Low-key, you guys are getting me thinking, bro. Like, what if I came back and we together started working on these reforged games, bro?
We could do something with that. I don't know anything about development, so I could help with the marketing.
It's already in the
Me
works.
too.
It's already been made. It's already being made. Fencing's been remade, and we're going to move on to group sword fighting soon as well. Okay, the next question is, what did you think at first about the sword fighting transition from OA to NA? And why do you think NA has become the most dominant animation with more users? Um, I think OA difference between OA and NA is obviously the jumping effect, but also moonwalk used to be possible before in 2011. Brepoper remembers that. OA and NA are not like they're very similar, but except OA mechanics is just less jumping, in my opinion. I feel like it was less jumping and it had no shift lock. Shift lock was new in 2011, that was introduced in 2011 because back then you could moonwalk. That's the difference. But now OA is very similar to NA, except the jumping effect. Why do I think NA is overcome OA and is the most used? Well, it's the new mechanics. It's the new mechanics that are used today. It's a new thing. OA is the old mechanics. NA is the new mechanics. But if you master both mechanics, OA and NA, then you become a very formidable person, a formidable player, very strong as well. So that's the last thing. What about you, Corbin?
Yeah, you touched on that really well. I was never really as involved in the communities that you guys were with just the regular OA, NAs. I played those games, of course, but I was mostly on Sword Fight on the Heights 4. I do remember when that changed because it changed the functionality of almost every single sword on Sword Fight on the Heights 4. It was a huge deal. The Illumina, it changed. You weren't able, instead of flinging you straight up in the air, you're now able to fly across the map in the span of 15 seconds with 2 Illuminas. So it made a huge impact on Sword Fight on the Heights 4.
Yeah.
And that's about all I can speak to.
What about you, Brepoper?
I mean, looking back, I do remember when they had OA and then they added shift lock. We all thought it was ass at the time. A lot of people were unhappy with that for sure. A lot of people were like threatening to quit because of the shift lock ad, and definitely changed all of sword fighting. That's for sure. Shift lock completely changed sword fighting because before that, I mean, I don't know how many people that are going to watch this video know what classicing was or how people classic, but it's completely different to classic versus shift lock sword fighting. I'm sure Corbin and Sato, you guys can agree to that.
There is someone here that's actually asking about classicing. Her name is Musically Melody. What do you think about modern classicing, and who's the best current classicer, or who's top three? Do you think it can go far against shift lock? Do you think classicing can go far without shift lock? She's trying to say. All right. I think classicing to it is a different skill set. I've learned this as well, and I've taught classicing before. Do I think it can go far as using shift lock? Yes, but no. Yes, as in you can beat most people with classicing without shift lock, but if you want to beat people that are in the top leagues, the best of the best NAs, I don't know who the best of the best NAs are now, but if you were to try 1v1 them, they'll beat you if you only do classicing. You have to combine classicing with hybrid. Classicing with hybrid movements and with a bit more NA to it. All three or all four combined, yes, you can be one of the best players in classicing. What do you think, Corbin?
That's kind of hard for me to talk about. I don't even really know what classicing is. Can you explain that?
Classicing is sword fighting without shift lock.
Okay. So basically old animation sword fighting, right?
No, because shift lock. Imagine technically yes, old animation sword fighting, but just imagine because I believe there was a point in time where you could old animation sword fight and there was shift lock. I might be wrong on that. I don't remember, but Classicing is just sword fighting. Even you can classic in NA. Classicing is just no shift lock. You're never using shift
Okay.
lock. So imagine
Yeah,
you're just sword fighting people and you don't shift lock, so you gotta turn your back to them and like I don't know,
yeah,
it's a different
that's
style.
completely impossible for me. I respect anybody that's able to do that. That's got to take a lot of skill. I always use shift lock. So modern classicing that's completely irrelevant to me. I am a shift lock
Yeah.
guy. I stand by it.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say about that.
All right, guys. Well, I think we've covered every point that was needed to hear. I think
That was all the fans' questions?
yeah. I mean, is there any questions that I've missed? Corbin, announce the questions that have.
In your guys' opinion, who is the top 3 best classicers or old animation, new animation sword fighters in your guys' opinion?
Okay, I'll go first. I would say it's a tie between Repopper, Sato, and Corbin.
You got to take my name off the list.
No, I definitely would. I would definitely put Conan Mias in there. That's the only person I know that. Oh, I don't know if he classicked actually. He still uses shift lock. I don't know, bro. I personally don't think there is any best sword fighter. I think you can only get so good, and then if you're gonna 1v1, you're gonna have 2 really good players 1v1. It's just you guys are gonna bait each other for 10 minutes until one of you gets a kill. You know what I mean?
Longer than that,
Um,
30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if there really could ever be the greatest sword fighter, the greatest classicer. Like it's such a simplistic game. You know what I mean? Like it's just really
Bree's
I
just a
don't
hater.
think it's advanced enough. I'm not. I'm being honest. Like I just don't think. Like I think people can get so good to the point. They can only get so good to a point where it really just comes down to who has more patience. And then you can really just get better at timing, but then that's also ties in with predictability. And the more you sword fight someone, the more you can predict their forms of movements. And that's what I'm saying. Like if you're gonna have 2 greatest players and they play each other, eventually they're gonna know each other's play styles, and then they're just gonna be baiting each other for hours, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Corbin? Anything else?
Um, I mean, top 3 classicers I can't answer. I could probably answer to top 3 sword fight on the heights players of all time. Brepoper had a great point. You can only get so good at the game. Fortunately, with Sword Fight on the Heights 4, in my opinion, I think it requires more skills, and that's just
Yeah,
because there's more
definitely.
features in the game. There's more swords in the
Definitely.
game. There's a lot that you can do in Sword Fight on the Heights 4. With that being said, some of the top players, in my opinion, Scareglow and Gulek, I think they utilize the items that are provided in the game the best out of anybody. They use the touchstone. Everybody uses the touchstone. Sorry, that was a bad example. The force field is what I meant to say. Most streakers, they do not utilize the force field. They're going around, they're picking easy targets. From what I've seen from Scareglow and Gulek, they utilize the force field the best out of anybody. Their timing and reaction to getting themselves in a fight and being able to utilize that force field last second, it's honestly incredible. So for them, I put them 2 easily in the top 5. They're very talented. ZZ999, I did a video over him. He was able to get 100 kills, 100-0 streak in Sword Fight on the Heights 4 in 10 minutes.
What?
Incredible. Nobody has ever done that before. He has it all on video. I can show you guys the video. But
That's
just the way that he
crazy.
maneuvers, he has it all on video, maneuvering around the map, being able to kill. And he did this with no touchstone, by the way. Meaning if he was falling off the map, he was able to save himself with dual Lumina. Crazy talent.
Yeah, I know
Um,
ZZ999. He used to frequent Sword Fight facility a lot.
Yeah, he's a good guy. I've talked to him a few times. Mexican Meats, another top player. I witnessed him get 1,000-0, and Pyromance, 1,484-0. These guys are top players in Sword Fight on the Heights 4. There's tons more.
Zated and Oilers.
Yeah.
I witnessed them as well.
Yep, Oilers, Zated,
An
good guys.
Illuminati glitch, whatever it's called, Illuminati glitch. It was where they could just go with 2 Illuminatas and just glitch everywhere, fly across the whole map. So I don't know if that. I don't know. If
I thought that was still a thing.
It's still a thing. Yeah, you can still
Yeah,
do it.
that's part of the game. Yeah.
That's all I have to say. I saw Musically Melody said something about top 3, and thought I'd give my take on that.
I just love you guys, bro. Shout out. Just want to throw some shout outs out there. Shout out S'mores IV. Shout out Leet. Shout out Konamius. Shout out Larolith. Shout out, oh man, shout out everyone that watched my videos, bro. Shout out to all of you, man. I loved everybody, bro. And I appreciate anyone that supported my channel. Anybody that found sword fighting through my channel, get off the game and go do something else. But what it do, baby boo? It's your boy Repopper. Goodbye.
What about you, Corbin?
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback exactly off of what Bree Popper said. I just want to take a moment to say thank you to everyone who's been a part of my journey in the sword fighting community over these last, whether you've been a part of my journey over the last 12 years or just watching my content over the last 1 year. I've made some amazing memories, met some incredible people, had the chance to be a part of something that meant more than just a sword fighting game. And even though I have officially said that I am retiring, this is not the end quite yet. We're getting to that time of the year. I'm going to be pushing out more content. So stay tuned. At the end of the day, I'm grateful for the people that watch my content, joined my events, competed in the challenges, made the community what it was. Thank you for supporting me. And it's been an honor to share my story today on this podcast. Thank you for having me, by the way. This was amazing.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for.
Wait, Sato, your last words, bro.
Yeah, what are you doing?
I want to shout out everybody that watches my stuff as well. I want to give a big thanks to everybody that supported my channel for literally 10 years of uploading and 13 years of playing as well. I want to thank everybody, DOT, OET. I want to thank all of my friends, family, and yeah, I love the sword fighting and I can't wait to launch Project Fencing. I can't wait to launch this. This is going to be great. It's going to be a great project. And it's not going to be for money. I'm investing money as well into it. It's not about going to be money. It's about rebuilding classic sword fighting. So this is what I'm going to be doing for the future, working on Project Fencing. And yeah, peace out.
All right, guys, that is it for the podcast. If you guys made it all the way through that whole hour and a half, I really appreciate you sticking around. Again, big thanks to Sato and Brepoper for having me on. This was such a blast, guys. I enjoyed this so much. This is definitely something that I want to do more in the future, collaborating with different people, sitting down, having a conversation about sword fighting. Beyond exciting. Now, I do have some video projects coming up. Hopefully later this month, I get a video out. So stay tuned for that. Until then, I will see you guys all in the next video. Peace.